My name is Abigail Lewis, and this is my final video presentation over the movie A Separation. So, the main character that I would like to focus on is going to be our main male character, and he has a very strong relationship with his father, and we see this multiple times because it seems as though he is sacrificing multiple things just to stay and care for him. And we see at the very beginning of the movie that his wife wants to divorce him because he does not want to move with her to go to a better area primarily for their daughter because she believes that she will have more success in this other area than where they currently are at. And the judge does not, or the court person does not approve the reasoning for this divorce because there's no abuse, there's nothing else going on. It's just the fact that he doesn't want to go with her. And so we see after this that she packs up her things and she leaves the house, and the husband and daughter stay at the house where he's caring for his grandfather. And you see this kind of internal conflict going on in his mind as his wife is packing up to leave to go to her family's house. And you can see he doesn't want her to go, but he also there's no way that he would leave his father alone. And kind of a sad moment that gets brought up by the wife is when she's like, he has Alzheimer's and this and that. He's like, he doesn't know who you are, so it doesn't matter if you leave because he doesn't know it's you taking care of him. Kind of that sort of situation going on. And you can see that that kind of really touched him in a bad spot because it's still his father, and it seems as though he doesn't believe like that he's truly gone. He thinks he still understands the people who are around him and so on. And throughout the movie, we see just the struggle that he goes through. So he finds a lady who can care for his father while he's at work. And this lady ends up needing to leave to run errands one day, and she ties his father to the bed and locks the door. And so when our main character comes home with his daughter, his father is on the floor, passed out, doesn't have his oxygen mask on, and they're both crying. I mean, very upset, trying to get him to wake back up. They don't know if he's going to make it. They see he's in a really bad spot. And we see this a very emotional part of the story, and that's really our main point throughout this whole storyline, like for our end result of what happened. But the lady comes back, the caregiver, and he kind of pushes her out the door. Well, that night she went to the hospital because she had a miscarriage, and she and her husband were trying to sue slash accuse our main character for this miscarriage. And it comes about that that was actually more than likely not the reason that she miscarried. The day before, the father had wandered across the street to go look at papers. And whenever she was going to get him, she got hit by a car. And that is when she started feeling this pain. And that actually comes to light at the very end of the story, the reasoning behind that. But you see this conflict going on that he doesn't know what to do. He wants to stay taking care of his father. He wants to stay with his daughter. He wants his wife to come back. But he's not willing to sacrifice leaving his father for all these things. So you see a very strong bonding relationship right there, as like his father raised him. His father did everything for him when he was a young child, and now he wants to do the same in return. And you see a lot of young people nowadays that don't go with that same concept, so to speak. You see a lot of these young people who they start getting a lot of distance from their parents the older they get, and when they start getting independence, like when they turn 18 or when they finish college, and they stop talking to their parents as much. And this really wasn't as common a few years before now. And I think that it's very strongly represented in the story how people need to care more. Like just because someone's like having like their parents having trouble, maybe doesn't remember as much, that doesn't mean you shouldn't also care for them because your parent cared for you when you were growing up. And I think that's just a very strong message that's kind of sent through, that you can see someone who is very dedicated to taking care of a family member who helped them, who raised them, who took care of them, and is willing to sacrifice other things that make him happy to do so. And that's just not something you see nowadays. I mean, we're really kind of going away from that idea of how people stay caring for like elderly. They typically they'll put their grandparent in a home, which it's hard when people work and so on, but you don't really see that one-on-one care as much anymore like you see in this story. And you see multiple times how he has an internal conflict on he wants his wife to come back, he wants to still be a family, but repeating words from earlier, he does not want to leave his father. He's not willing to sacrifice his father, and that's a very strong, loving relationship that you can see between them, and you can understand that. And I just believe that the message kind of sent through is no matter what you're going through, like he was being accused of murder because the baby was mature enough to be considered human, and he was still trying to care for his father. He was still trying to communicate at some level with his wife. His wife's family was coming to help him. They also cared for his father some whenever he was at the courthouse, the prison, whatever it was. And it's just so many different things going on at one time. And it comes to the end of the story whenever he's good. He's not accused of the murder because it came to light that she was actually got hit by the car, and that was the reasoning behind it. And his wife goes through with the divorce this time. They get it approved, everything. So his wife is leaving. The daughter's having to decide which parent she wants to stay with, and it's hard on her, obviously. But you see, even still, he wants to stay with his father. He wants to care for him. And that just sends a very strong message to people about how some things need to be done and some things take a lot of sacrifice. And so that's just kind of the moral of the story that I wanted to get to today. Thank you.